Hello everyone, welcome to the market outlook for the week. Gaurang Shah here from Geojit Investments Limited, and as I speak to all of you all this Monday morning, we have some recovery in sight, both on the Sensex, Nifty and sector specific. About 167 points uptick on the Nifty spot, 25,960 plus level is there on the Nifty spot, and Sensex is up about 590 odd points, 84,800 odd is the level on the Sensex. Expectation is that after seeing a small bit of profit booking last week after a steady rally, this is a healthy sign that we saw last week of some kind of profit booking. Of course, not to forget, friends, last week we also saw the Sensex and Nifty make a new 52-week high. All-time high needs to be crossed over, which is somewhere close to about 26,277. So as I speak to you, all of you all this Monday morning at around about 10:30, positivity is there, and this positive is largely on fallback of a couple of accounts. First of all, I think the news flow from the international market, possibility of a trade deal between between China, between US and China, US and Brazil, and more importantly, a trade deal between India and US should throw in a lot of positivity and should get rid of unnecessary excitement in terms of disappointment, which was there with concerns lingering. There was also a news flow last week on some kind of peace between Russia and Ukraine. Of course, sanction put in by President Trump on oil companies like Rosneft, etc., has created a little bit of uncertainty for the Russian economy as well as the entire energy basket, but remains to be seen how it pans out over the next couple of weeks and days. So overall, friends, we remain positive on the market, and of course on the domestic front, I forgot to mention that there was a little bit of positivity in terms of earning visibility, because for the second quarter earning, there was a lot of expectation that we may have a disappointment, but surprise, surprise, our expectation was that it will be good color and shade rather than any kind of major, and that's what it is. Whatever we've seen up till now, and we expect these positivities to continue as we go forward. So the levels to watch out for, both on the higher and lower side, 24,700 to 24,800 remains to be a consolidation and a support zone. On the higher side, 25,080 to 25,125. This is going to be the level to watch out for in terms of, I beg your pardon, on the lower side, the support will be in form of 25,000. 700, 25,800. That is the level. I beg your pardon for that number error. 25,700 to 25,800 will be a zone where you will see support coming in. And on the higher side, as I mentioned, 26,080 to 26,125. This will be a zone where we will see a top heavy feeling. My understanding is that we'll again go into that, range bound trade, and eventually on fallback of domestic news flows will be able to take over the resistance of 26,125 and move above. And on any day, if we get a closing beyond this particular level of 26,125, then I think the conquer of all-time high and then making a new time high possibility is much, much higher and brighter. Uh, India volatility index has moved up, friends, close to about 8.90%, and the level is 12.60. This means that choppiness and volatility will be the order of the day. On the US dollar front, after significant strength on the rupee last week, we've seen a slight weakness of 0.14%. 87.99 is the level on the rupee against the dollar. So that's going to be some amount of strength coming is what we expect on the rupee against the dollar as we go into this week trade, and of course next week. And this week again, friends, I believe this week Thursday will be the expiry of the monthly F&O segment, so there's going to be choppy volatility as far as we enter to Wednesday and then of course Thursday. So, and of course, in between these friends, if we are able to conquer 26,125, then I think the short covering by our friends in form of FIs will lead to more support in the market, and that will eventually lead to a little bit of higher side. So let's hope that by today, tomorrow, we see a crossover of 26,125, and that will lead to a more positivity. In terms of crude oil prices, friends, Brent is trading at about $66.10 to a barrel, and NYMEX is trading at about $61.60 to a barrel. Expect lower level trajectory. Of course, this sanctions on from US on the Russian oil marketing companies like Rosneft, etc., has created a little bit of concern. But OPEC on the other side is going to have more production coming in, so that will take care of the demand supply gap, and most probably we'll see much lower crude oil prices as we go into the future. uh, FIs who have been net sellers, they are turned positive, so that's another positive sign. And in this earnings, friends, what we've seen is the entire BFSI segment delivering much better numbers. Of course, barring one or two companies here and there. So we expect the entire BFSI segment, banking, finance, strong, and BFCs to do well. Uh, and more importantly, I think if we did hear Commerce Minister Mr. Piyush Goyal mention to a forum of discussion that India will never sign a trade deal with gun on the head. And I think whatever our reaction or our stance in terms of this US India trade disagreement, I think we have reacted more maturely, more of a long term goal objective, rather than making statements like we have heard from Trump administration and their counterparts. So it's good to see this. So possibly the sooner or later we'll have a deal in place and it will be signed, sealed, and delivered. But up till then, I think we need to be a little bit cautious. So the investment ideas, friends, for long term, and before I give that standard disclosure, all recommendations that we'll be sharing this morning on this video are a part of our research team recommendation. Our company Geojit or I, we do not have any personal investments, no financial interest, no conflict of interest. But we give advice to our clients on similar lines. They might have their investment interest in the stocks that we recommended today. So we discussed the BFSI segment, and I think that's where our focus is by and large from a long-term point of view. Two themes from the BFSI segment. First one is one of the largest private sector banks, which came out with numbers, one of disappointment in the numbers, Axis Bank. This bank has actually moved to its all-time high, and the possibility is that on fallback of future earnings, there is a chance of much more higher level, which we believe. So the first investment idea is Axis Bank. The second investment idea is form of a strong NBFC, comes from a very strong corporate house, Bajaj Finance. Some time back, the stock got adjusted for split and bonus, and then from 850 levels, we've seen a consistent uptick. This stock is also one of the stock. If you put the consolidated number in place, then this has also made a new lifetime high. Investment theme on recommending these two investment ideas are purely from a long-term point of view. So you can start at current levels and add on dips. That will be a better strategy, and stay invested from long-term point of view if you really want to make a meaningful return out of your return. But mind you, this is not a BTST, STBT, short-term, medium-term, purely long-term, one and a half year plus kind of time horizon will give you the kind of returns that you would have possibly set aside post making your investments in this company. Thank you very much for your patience here. I'll see you again next week. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.